Hi, this is Taveri, and we're going to take a look today at the Coates Tire Balancer. Okay, this is a computer balancer. It's a little bit of an old school machine, but it does a fantastic job. I've never had a drivability complaint after balancing tires with this machine, so it works extremely well. And I'll go through the ins and outs of this machine, and we'll go ahead and we'll balance this tire right down here. Machine coming out of the side of the machine right here. This is our arbor shaft. This is what our wheel assembly is going to mount up to. You have a spring. The spring is used to push against a cone. This is a cone that goes into the center circle of the rim, and then this is the mount head. This is what the rim is going to rest up against. Okay. We have a measuring device that comes out directly right here, and you can see there's a scale located on the side of it. So this is going to come into play when we are making measurements of the rim before it balances it. And you'll notice there is a red slit right here. This is to indicate what position on the rim we want to put our wheel weights at. Okay. Alright, this large plastic piece right here, this is the hood. The hood gets pulled over the top of the tire. Once that gets pulled down, the tire is going to rotate. And that's when the balancer is going to spin the tire and it's going to balance it and give us our reading. Over here to the left, this is our computer display. This is what's going to tell us what weight we have to put on the rim. This also has multiple selections for different styles of rims or different methods for applying weights to the rim. And I'll go through and I'll kind of show you some of those. Okay? And then up on the top, it is quite disorganized, but this is our tray where we have all of our weights. Okay? The weights that we have here are all lead weights, and these are being phased out. So we're not supposed to use lead weights anymore, so eventually we'll wind up recycling all these, and most manufacturers are going to all aluminum weights. But these are the weights that clamp onto the rim that allow it to balance out. Okay? So we're taking vibrations out of the rim and the tire, so that way it spins smooth at all speeds, and it doesn't cause any vibrations at highway speeds. Okay? And then up in the far section, you'll have what's called a wing nut. The wing nut is going to get threaded onto the arbor shaft, and that's what's going to hold the rim onto the arbor shaft. Alright, let's get going. What I want to do is to mount the rim onto the arbor shaft. Okay? In order to do that, we're going to select the appropriate size cone that's going to slip onto the arbor shaft. That's going to go into the center, right down there, of our rim. So we'll take a look. Try to kick this guy out a little bit so you can see it. So I'm going to take this guy. It has a little bit of a taper to it. So you want the taper side to go in. You want a nice tight fit. If you choose a cone that's too small, for obvious reasons, what you're going to have is the cone. It's going to go right through the center, and that's going to be completely useless. So for our application, this one's going to work out just great. So we want the tapered portion of this cone to face away from the machine. And we're going to slide it right onto the arbor shaft. Alright, next up, we're going to take the rim assembly, the wheel, and we're going to mount it up to the arbor shaft. Okay, once that's slipped on, hold it nice and tight. Everything should line up in there. Now we're going to take our wing nut. It's got this big plastic cup on it, and we're going to spin it right onto the arbor shaft to hold the rim, the wheel assembly in place. Want to make sure it's good and tight. Once it's nice and tight, what we're going to do is we're going to rotate the tire assembly so that we can see it spin. We're going to look and make sure that there's no wobbling left and right or up and down. Okay? Make sure that it's mounted accurately. Okay? So, spins nice, no problems. Try to avoid using your hand to slow it down, because if there's any debris inside of the tire's tread, or possibly a steel belt is sticking out and you didn't know that, it could hurt you really bad. So just use your foot. Okay? Just kind of stop it with the bottom of your foot, the bottom of the tire. Okay. So next thing we're going to do here is we're going to make some measurements, and we're going to enter those measurements into the machine. This first tool we're going to talk about here, this is going to measure the width of the rim. So right here we have a series of numbers. It might be difficult to see. And then we have a pointer right here that's going to tell us in inches how wide is our rim. All right. Now when we do this, we're going to open it up, and we're going to fit it right inside of the bead lip of the rim. on both sides. And once we're in there, we're going to go ahead and we're going to measure it. All right, so right here, you can see we're measuring right at 7.5 inches. Okay. All right, so we just measured the width of the rim, so we're going to go ahead and enter that first. So you just click on the width, W, and we had 7.5, so just 7, 5. It throws in that decimal right there in the middle. So that's 7.5 inches. The next one we want to do is our area. How far is the rim away from the machine? So we're going to click on that one as soon as we got our reading. So we're going to come down here and take a look. All right, when we do this portion, we got this little lever on the side of the machine. We're going to pull this out, and then we're going to set it right inside the bead lip, right inside of there. Once it's set in there, what we're going to do is we're going to read the numbers that's closest to the machine. So let's take a look. Alright, so with the measuring device stuck all the way inside of the rim, okay, again we're only up on the bead surface, okay, so you got the lip of the bead and it's stuck right up there against the bead. We take a look at the scale. We have 2 inches, 3 inches, right there we're at 4 inches, and you see we got 1 notch after that, so that's 4.1 inch. Okay, so you count the increments in between. So that's 3.2, 3.4, 3.6, 3.8, 4, 4.1. Okay, so we're going to go ahead and put that for area, and that's 4.1 inches. So we're going to hit the A, and 4, 1. All right, the next one we want is our diameter. And this is found on our rim itself, or on the tire itself. So we're going to take a look at the tire identification number, and then we'll put the diameter right up there. All right, so we're going to spin the tire around, and we're going to take a look for our tire identification number. It should be located right here on the sidewall of the tire. Should be coming around. There we go. Okay. So we have a P24570 R17. Okay. 108S M plus S. Okay, so let's take a quick look at this. P stands for passenger, so it's a passenger tire. 245 stands for width, and that's in millimeters, so 245 millimeters is the width of your tire. The 70 is called your aspect ratio, so it's 70% of 245 is your sidewall height. Okay, the R stands for radial. Okay, and then the 17 is your rim diameter, so it's a 17-inch rim. All right, so we're going to go ahead and we're going to take that 17 and we're going to plug it into the machine. Hit the diameter. We got 17 inches, and then just type in 17 and then just add 0, and there you go. All right, so the next step is we're going to take a look and we're going to pull down the hood. Now if you're just balancing tires, it's a good idea to leave the weights on the rim. Don't take those off yet. Do an initial balance and see if the tire is still within spec. If it balances out at zeros on both sides, then you don't have to balance the tire. You just take it off and it's good. Okay? But if you balance it and then it's out, then you need to take the weights off, rebalance it, pull the hood back down again, and then add weight, and then bring it to 0. Okay? Okay, so now that our measurements are in, we're going to go ahead and we're going to drop the hood, and we're going to spin balance this tire and see where we're at, and then add weight as needed. Alright, once the tire is done, go ahead and lift the hood back up, and then we see what we got. So if we take a look over on the right, we balanced out at 0.75 and 0.50. So right there we know we have an issue. So our rim and tire assembly are out of balance. So we're going to go ahead and we're going to add weight to the rim on both sides apparently, and we're going to bring it into spec. Now we're going to take a quick look at some of the weights. So right here, obviously we've got an assortment of weights. what I want to show you is right here, this is an MC style weight. This weight has a very large clasp on it, and this is typically used for aluminum rims. Okay, if it's got a wide clasp, that's for an aluminum rim, because the lip of the rim on aluminum is much fatter than the lip on a steel rim. So we'll take a look at a weight that you would use on a steel rim, and that would be something more like this. It's got a nice tight clasp right inside of there. This is perfect for a steel type rim. Okay, and that's what we have here. Now if we take another look on the front side, right over here we have a 1.25, might be difficult to see, that's in ounces, and then we have a 35 over here, that's a measurement in grams. So this machine, we can tailor it to measure either ounces or grams, so depending on personal preference really, and your weights. So what we're going to do is we're going to go through and we're going to try to see if we can find a weight. So this one's 1.0, so this is a 1 ounce weight. We're going to try to find a weight that matches our 0.75 ounces and 0.5 ounce. So once we got those, then we'll go ahead and we'll mount them up to the rim. Okay. All right, I got my weights. Now what I'm going to do is I'm going to start with the inside of the tire, and I'm going to put a weight on the inside of the rim first. Now when I rotate this tire around, I want you to stare at these lights that spin on the inside of the screen there. Notice how they scroll around. You want to locate it until that light starts to blink. Once it blinks, you're going to hold the rim in place, and that's where we're going to mount the first weight. Okay, so you remember that red line I talked about at the beginning of the video? We're going to follow that straight up, and that's where we're going to mount this weight on the rim. So I'll show you exactly how we're going to do that. And note the image right here. This is your tire. This white part is the rim. This is the wing nut on the outside of the machine. This is the mounting head, and this is the machine side. So this is the inside of the rim that faces inward towards the vehicle. Alright, so now we're going to go ahead and we're going to mount up 0.75 ounce. So it's best idea, just kind of curl over. And we got a red line located right down here. So we're going to go straight up, we're going to locate our weight, dead center, right there. We got a nice tight clasp. Here's our 0.75. Once you got it where you want it, use your wheel weight pliers and just hammer it on. Now we're going to do the other side. Rotate the tire. My light's blinking. Find that red line and come to the very top. And that's our 0.5 ounce, so our half ounce weight. Next step, so we're going to drop the hood, rotate it, and we're looking for zeros across the board. So pay close attention to these sets of numbers right here. We want to see zeros across each one. If we got that, we're okay. A 0.25 is acceptable just for the back of the vehicle. And there you go. So we got zeros across the board on the wheel assembly. So our tire is now balanced, and this can go on our vehicle. So this is now safe for road travel. All right, next step we're going to do is we're going to demount the tire and turn the machine off. Easy enough. All right, come back over here to the wing nut. Lay your leg right into the tire. Take your right hand, grab the wing nut, break it loose. Use your left hand to support the tire. When they're heavy, they can be quite awkward. Okay, grab it both, use your leg to swing it off, and roll it down. Okay. Take the cone, put it back in the machine, put the wing nut in the back, lower your tire out of the way. To turn the machine off, go all the way to the back. Just a tiny little switch. The machine is off. Okay. That's how to use our tire machine. Thanks for watching.